right, I promised you all a Q&A, so as I'm walking here, I'm going to do that. Most of the questions are for YouTube stuff, but there are some, I guess, little personal questions in there too. There's like 40 total, and because I'm recording on my phone, I had to write them all on paper so I can actually read them. It's kind of crazy. I have them all written down here on these post-it notes, so I'm gonna read these off and we're gonna do this. How many hours a day / week do you spend making a platinum video? It depends on the game that I'm playing, but per day, it doesn't really change. So usually I would say 6 to 10 hours a day of recording, or recording and editing, 6 to 10 hours a day. How do you organize clips to make editing faster? I name the files by the name of the trophy. So if I get a trophy in game that's called Master Chef, I'll name the clip Master Chef and I'll put them in a folder that's titled whatever game I'm playing, and that's how I keep them organized. How long does it take to hash out a story? So when I'm creating the structure and story for the video, I usually edit the video. I'll edit the clips that I got like the previous day, the next day. So if today I'm recording and I get 10 trophies, I will edit that footage that I recorded today tomorrow, like first thing tomorrow. And that's because it'll be fresh in my mind, and I'll just have a better memory of how I felt while playing it, and I can convey that emotion that I felt during the experience better if I do it right away. And depending on how much footage I get for the day will also determine how much time I spend editing on that specific morning or whatever. So I won't really know like the total time it takes to hash out a story because I don't track it, but that's how I do it. How much time do you spend looking for assets, musics, or memes? I don't really spend much time doing that at all because I already have all the music and memes that I use in my videos. If there's a new one that I haven't ever used, I'll just quickly go and grab it. But I kind of reuse the same music in videos. And memes, I'm not really too fond on memes in videos. What resources do you use when trying to introduce new edits? So if there's a new edit that I want to learn how to do, I'll just go on YouTube and search up how to do it, and then I'll do it. How much time do you practice your edits before thinking they're good enough for a video? I don't really have to practice any edits. Like, I just, as I previously mentioned, I'll look up how to do it and then I'll just do it, and I don't really have to practice it. I'm not sure if that's like, if I'm answering that incorrectly, but maybe I'm just not interpreting the question the right way. What's your motivation to finish a hard game? So whenever I'm playing something very tough like Super Meat Boy, Splasher, or anything else that I play, or like Crash Bandicoot, Hollow Knight, anything that's been really tough, I mean, I don't know, it's like I'm making videos out of it, so like who would I be to quit? Like there's multiple things. So like if I'm on video giving up, then that also gives everyone else who saw that video the right to give up when they're going for a platinum too, and I don't want to set that kind of bad example for people. Also, I'm not going to put a ton of time into something just to give up in the end. Like, no, it would be so underwhelming for me to go through an experience and then just give up, and like the video, it would just be like it would just be bad if I did that. What are some lessons that you need in life for anyone to obtain the driving force to ascend and become a person like yourself? I appreciate the compliment. Lessons you need to learn in life. Number 1, quitters never win and winners never quit. Number 2, desire backed by intention can accomplish anything you want. Number 3, get really good at managing time. And the way you get good at managing time is to understand you can't really manage time, you can only manage activity. I can't change I can't speed up or slow down the passing of time, but what I can do is manage my activity during that time. So it's not really time management, but it's more so of activity management. I mean, there's a lot, but those are some good 3 ones right there. What top 3 things would make up the best YouTube video you've ever made? I love this question. I was actually thinking about this. So the number 1, or I guess one of the things would be having real stakes to a video, like something to actually lose, something important, where like if I don't accomplish my goal that I have set within the video, like it would actually impact me in a huge way that is relatable to other people. Number 2, I think, is like a start to end progression of me being really bad at whatever I'm trying to do in the video, and then by the end of it, I become really good at it. Made it to the park. I'm gonna sit down here and answer the rest of these questions. And I think also just the sheer difficulty of whatever goal it is that I have throughout the video can contribute to a much better video than if something is just really easy. So if I'm making a video on something that's very hard to accomplish, but there's also some really major stakes should I fail, and you can see me start off really bad and get really good towards the end, whether I complete it or not, I think that's a that would probably be the best YouTube video I've ever made, which I don't think any of the videos I've ever made has had all those 3 elements. I think they've had maybe 2 at most, but I don't know about all 3. How are you able to condense so many platinums into one video effectively? What should be cut? So I have this editing rule where when I first started the platinum videos, I used to put every single trophy from the game, like every clip of every trophy, into the video, but I don't do that anymore, which is why like in the videos you'll see the trophy counter skip numbers, because I don't show the ones that are boring or like super easy because they're just not interesting. So that is part of how I'm able to condense them. But I aim for like a specific narrative that I want to convey throughout the entirety of the video, and whatever clips don't contribute towards that overall narrative, I cut it so it can just be more condensed and shorter. What's the biggest challenge so far in your career? I don't know, the biggest challenge is, I guess, trying to reach 1 million subscribers one day. Like, it's gonna happen, but I haven't been able to do it yet, so that's been the biggest challenge. Sometimes like you really don't know the answers to specific questions, and you're wondering how to replicate certain successes, but then you learn new things and you find out answers through that experience. But I don't know, I guess trying to reach 1 million subs, I don't really know. Most efficient way to edit while still trying to maintain a high quality video. So earlier I said I edit the clips from each day the next day. I think that is the most efficient way to do it. But also I don't fully edit my videos anymore. I have an editor for that, but most of the videos on my channel have been fully edited by me. And another thing I would do is I would edit in layers. So first is like cuts and structuring of the story, right? And then next might be like anything visual, like zooms, any sort of visual effects on the screen. I'll do that all in one step. And then in the next step, I'll do like any sound effects that I need to do. I'll do that in that step. And then like lastly, I'll do like the music. So every layer of editing, I just do it in one shot. I don't do sound effects, zooms, music all in one step, because then it gets confusing and you can't really focus on one thing at a time. I kind of just do them in those separate layers like that. When picking a platinum, do you consider how much time it would take plus how much time it would take to edit? Yes, I do. Because if a game takes way too long, then it won't be worth my time, because I want to upload at least semi-consistently. I've been uploading like twice a month and I'm trying to get it up to 3. How do you record footage? All in one go or in short bursts to edit? I don't record all in one go. Recording takes a week or 2 depending on the game. And I have this feature on my recording software called Replay Buffer, where it's like you're recording, but you can either choose to kill the recording or to save it to your computer. So I have that on constantly, and I have it set to like record a certain amount of time in the past. So I have it set to like a few hours, but it doesn't actually record a few hours in the past. It'll record maybe the last 30 minutes, 20 minutes of whatever happened on my game. So whenever I get a clip that I want to use in the video, or like a trophy pops up, I'll just hit the save button, and I have like the past 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes of what happened, and I can use that. I'm getting 78% traffic from search. How do I change this to more browse? Is that advised? If you're getting 78% traffic from search, that means you're probably using words such as how to, or your videos are more tutorial style, like informational, because whenever someone searches for a video, like you're using keywords that makes your video pop up in the search. If you want to get more traffic from browse, then you need to make your videos less searchable and more clickable. If you look at my channel, you would never see, like, people don't search for my videos. You just don't, unless you have seen my video already and then you want to go back and watch it. That's the only way you'd search for it. But you don't search for like the titles of my videos or Mr. Beast. Like, you don't search for last to take hand off Lamborghini keeps it. Like, that's browse. That's an interesting idea that comes up in your browse feed, and because it's a big spectacle idea and it's really interesting. You have to make videos that are interesting and not tutorial style videos if you want more traffic from browse. Is it advised? I mean, it depends on what your goals are with your channel. If you're aiming to be a tutorial or how-to informational kind of channel, then getting 78% traffic from search is not bad. But if you want to be an entertainment kind of channel and have like a loyal audience and people who will watch anything you post and, you know, grow a huge community, then having browse as your #1 traffic source, browse and suggested as your like top 2 would be ideal. And for that, you need to stop using keywords and start appealing to people's emotions and learning the psychology behind what makes someone click and what makes someone interested in your video. How do you narrow down ideas when deciding on a niche? What factors should someone think about? The #1 factor when deciding on a niche is fulfillment. If you don't get fulfillment out of whatever you're going to be posting, you shouldn't be doing it. Don't chase views ever. I made that mistake for 2 years and I ended up quitting on that channel after hitting 100,000 subs and starting from absolute scratch. And until I found what I was passionate about and started doing that, and that's what I do now. After you know what you're passionate about, you do some research in the niche and look at the top channels in that niche and see what they're doing right, see what they're doing wrong, see how can you do something that they've done but make it better for yourself. And also just see what people are not doing that you could potentially do. Like that's what I did. There was a void in my niche for platinum videos. There was a void for good storytelling or high, fast-paced good storytelling. And I knew I could provide that, but no one was doing that. So I just decided to start doing it, and now you see all these people doing it as well. So see what people are not doing and see if you can do it and succeed at it. You probably can. How do you get so much retention? How do you get people to find your videos and gain viewers? So retention, if you don't know what retention is how long you can keep a viewer watching your video for. YouTube promotes videos in the algorithm that have high or that have like really good retention and also high click-through rate. So if you can keep people watching your videos for longer, you have a better chance of your videos going out to newer audiences. The key to getting better retention is to make an engaging video. And you can do that through storytelling. If you really learn how to tell a good story through a video, you can keep people watching till the end because they want to know how the story ends. So if you have like a main goal in your video that you want to achieve and you say, by the end of this video, I want this, right? And here's the story of how like this is gonna play out. But then you have many subplots throughout. So like mini questions, because you never want the viewer to feel completely satisfied to where they feel like, oh, I feel satisfied. I no longer need to watch this for satisfaction. Like you want their satisfaction to be provided at the end of the video. And to an extent, you still want them to have some sort of mystery in their mind about what other potential videos they can watch. So even if I have a certain goal in mind and I achieve it at the end of the video, I still want them to have something else to be curious about to get them to watch one of my other videos. But that's like a whole nother thing. But if you want to get better retention, tell a good story, have a main goal you're striving for, and have mini goals spread throughout that keep viewers interested. So if my main goal is to become a millionaire in a video, and I live in the streets in a box, and by the end of the video I'm going to become a millionaire, maybe my first goal is to make my first $1,000. Well, how can I make my first $1,000? And I'm out on the street hustling, right? And I made my first $1,000. That's the first goal achieved, but we still have a long way to go to $1 million, to becoming a millionaire, right? So little goals spread throughout will keep viewers engaged. What keeps you motivated to make content? I want to inspire people around the world through my videos, and I just like to entertain people, and obviously I want to live a good life for myself and for my future family and for my current family as well, and that is kind of what keeps me motivated. I mean, there's a lot really, but it's just I love what I do right now. I'm in a great place in terms of like, man, I absolutely love it. And so there's not really days where I don't feel like doing it. How do you balance your YouTube life and daily life? I kind of don't, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really have much of a life besides YouTube. I'm being straight up honest with you. I've been trying to do other things, and I kind of have. Like, I exercise now, like consistently. Like, I'm literally at the park right after I finish this recording. I'm gonna run around, do a run, and then I do workouts at home, like at night. Obviously I'm learning to cook for myself, but that's kind of a thing you have to do. That's not something I'm taking the time to do. I have to do that. Man, I don't really do anything else besides YouTube, which I really want to, but I don't like to spend my time doing things if they're not worth it. So if you're like, oh, like, do you go out and enjoy your life in free time and like, I don't know, go out and explore? Like I don't do like social stuff like that, like parties, clubs, or nothing. I don't see them as good uses of my time because they don't really help me get any closer to my goals. I always look at my time as very, very precious, and if someone wastes it, I consider it to be one of the most disrespectful things that they can do. But if I ever spend time with someone or doing something, it's because I actually really truly value that. I won't just go out and do something with someone just cause. Like, I'll do it because I genuinely would want to do that, and I'm willing to sacrifice some of my time and sacrifice me being able to go out and achieve my goals for quality time with specific people, you know? But as of right now, I kind of just stay home all day and record videos, I'm not gonna lie. Do you use a certain software for editing, and how do you capture your screen? I use Adobe Premiere Pro for editing, and I capture my screen with an Elgato capture card. How do you make sure your video is recommended to the right audience? Just the title and the description can give YouTube some ideas about what the video is about. So if you just put some words in there that indicate whatever the video is about, then it doesn't have to necessarily be keywords that are searchable. Just make them to, I mean, it could be, but like the word platinum trophy in my titles, like that tells YouTube what the video is about, so it's going to recommend it to people who are interested in that topic. And if I use that word in my description, then it'll do the same thing. How do you handle burnout? I think burnout is achieved by doing something that you're not really passionate about. I haven't even felt close to any sort of burnout in the year that I've been doing this channel, because I love what I do. And I feel like if you love what you do and you can't get enough of it, how can you get burnt out? With that said, I do give myself a day off after I finish a video, because just a day off where I don't have to worry about anything YouTube, even though in those days I'm usually making thumbnails and stuff, but that's like light kind of work. I don't really see that as anything heavy like recording or editing. But I give myself a day off after each video, and then I start on the next one, and I just do what I love. What are your future plans on this platform? 1 million subs is like my main goal right now. Like, that is the thing that is my prize right now, and that's what I'm like locked in on, figuring out every possible way I can achieve. After that, I will see if I can expand into the 10 million range, and I would see how I can do that. But it depends on what my channel looks like at the moment. Like, if I'm content with what I have at the moment, obviously I always want to strive for more, but I don't know, we'll have to see when I hit 1 million subs how I feel about it, and if I want to aim for 10 million, I will. How did you start off? How did it grow, and how long did it take to gain subs? So I started off in 2019. The Nick AR channel, the platinum channel, whatever you want to call it, that channel was started like a year ago. So we're in the beginning of 2023. It was started at the end of 2021, but more so like early 2022. It's really cold out here, bro. Man, I'm out here in the cold, man, making this video for you. So I started off with an NBA 2K My Team channel. My Team is a game mode within NBA 2K where it's like pay to win basically. And I started off with that, and I was making tips videos for that, how-to tutorials kind of stuff, because at the time I didn't understand YouTube. I didn't understand how to grow a channel. I didn't understand how it worked. The only thing I knew was it's the second largest search engine in the world behind Google. It's owned by Google, so I can use that to my advantage in terms of like making videos that people are going to search for, and have people find my content through that. And that's what I did. That was my strategy at first, and it helped me grow to, I would say, around 40,000 subs. And then my channel was stagnant for about half a year until it started to pick up again, and then I hit 100,000 subs. So I went from 40 to 100K, and I think it was like 4 to 5 months. It was from April to August, so like 4 months. And all that time I wasn't even passionate about that channel because I hated that game. I'd absolutely despised it. But it took me from 0 to 100K subs on that first channel. It took me 2 years to do that. Then I quit the channel, started up the new one, the Nick AR channel, last year. No subs. Literally, I vividly remember seeing on my YouTube studio 0 subscribers. I didn't promote my newer channel to my old one at all. I never told them. To this day, I still haven't told them about it, because the audiences were not the same. Like, if I'm making videos on NBA 2K, they're not going to be interested in this style of content. The only people who would be interested were the people who watched me genuinely for me, but that was a small percentage of the people of the 100,000. So the new channel, about after 6 months, I had 7,000 subs around there, and then in the next 6 months, I had like 196,000. So from January to June, I had like 7,000. Then from June to December, I was at like 196, basically 200,000. Today, I'm at 205,000, at least today that I'm recording. After the first half of 2022, things took off very quickly, very quickly. Do your family and friends support your channel? Absolutely, but not necessarily in the beginning. I'm gonna throw this hoodie on. So I wouldn't say that they didn't support. Like, my friends, I think, were more supportive than anyone, but I think my friends were all skeptical. I think every single one of them was skeptical, besides maybe one of them. And that's not like anything against them. I mean, it's natural for them to be skeptical because I was talking crazy back then. I was saying I was going to become a YouTuber. I was dropping out of college and quitting my job to do this thing. And those are not really decisions people make. But I was going against the conventional way of thinking and putting all my eggs in one basket and betting on myself, which naturally is going to drive skeptical thoughts out of people, and they're not really going to agree with what you're doing. So I told my mom that I wanted to do YouTube, and she didn't understand how YouTube works. She didn't understand how people make livings off of it. And she understands it more now because I've been doing it for the past couple of years. But she wanted me to get a degree in college. But my mom is like really nice. She watches these videos too. She's like the nicest mom in the world, I promise you. She wasn't gonna force me to do anything I didn't want to do. So she let me drop out and do my thing basically. And she believed in my vision, and I wouldn't be where I am without her. So I appreciate her. Now my dad, I told him I was dropping out. I didn't live with both my mom and my dad. I only lived with my mom, but I have a relationship with both of them, a good one. So I called him and I told him that I dropped out. I didn't tell him that I was dropping out, but I called him and told him that I did drop out after I did it, because he has a way with words. He's very convincing, and I didn't want him to convince me to go back to school. So I said, I'm gonna do it and then tell him afterwards. I was on a phone call with him and he straight up told me, he said, this is not gonna work out in the way that you think it is. And he said he believed in me on the phone, but it didn't really feel like he did, because I was telling him like a lot of these YouTubers, they're college dropouts, like they do all this, and he was like, no. And he didn't understand, and I had to prove it to him with results, and that's the only way sometimes people understand is with results. And then I remember on my first ever channel, the one that I was just talking about, when I had like 60,000 subscribers, I was with him and we were on a train going somewhere. And he was like, you really proved me wrong. And I was like, yeah, whenever I say I'm gonna do something, like I actually intend to do it. I don't speak things to say them and just to sound cool or to impress people. I say things that I actually want to go out and do because I actually will do those things. Like that is one of like my main thing, like personality traits, is like I am really intentional and deliberate about what I do. And I had to prove that to him so he can understand that. My friends, I think they were all skeptical too, because most of my friends have degrees now, or they're working on their degrees, right? Most of them went to college. Most of them I met in school. So I mean, they'll support me. Like they always supported me. Like they're like, yeah, like I wish the best for you. I'm rooting for you. But I think they had some doubt in their mind as to whether I was actually going to succeed at this or not. And they can tell me if they had that, if I'm right or wrong about that. But there was one friend that I went to high school with who we kind of decided we were going to do YouTube, and he understood me more than anyone. But any of my friends that I told I wanted to do YouTube have always they've always supported me, and I think they all believed in me. Even if there was some doubt in there, I think they all believed that I could actually do it. They just weren't 100% sure if I would. How do you stay focused on insanely hard games and not give up? I kind of talked about this earlier, but I just don't give up on anything. Like I won't give up. Once I decide on something, I won't give up on anything until I will not stop going for it until I have it. And that is just a mentality that I built up, and I've kind of built up that mindset. People say like, how do you have this sort of mindset or whatever? Or I wish I had your mindset. It's not a wishing thing. Like this is something you decide to have, or you decide upon. Quitting is a decision. And years ago, when I was first starting my first channel, I made a decision that I was going to change my life and that I was going to become a successful YouTuber. And I started to look into how I can do that. How can I change my life and become more successful? So I spent thousands of hours studying self-made millionaires and learning their habits, reading books about them, watching seminars, anything I could absorb. I spent thousands of hours of studying that. Then after that, I spent thousands of hours studying YouTube algorithm, not just algorithm, but studying storytelling, studying human psychology for, just for videos, all that combined, thousands of hours into that. And now I'm currently studying something else. It's more of like a personal thing, but I'm studying something else that I want to get really good at. But through those thousands of hours of studying self-made millionaires and studying success principles, one of the things I learned was to never give up. Like once you have something you want, you do not give up. It does not matter what life throws at you, you don't give up. I have not given up on anything since I've learned that. You might say, oh, you gave up on school. Someone said that. Someone tried to be funny and say Because I said in one of my videos, I like to finish things that I start, and then some dude thought he was funny talking about you coming from the dude who dropped out of college. Like, excuse me? Like, what? But I didn't have that mindset when I dropped out of college. I dropped out of college to become a YouTuber. I didn't have the mindset of never quitting back then. The only things I quit now are things that are detrimental to my health. Like, that's the only things I would ever quit. But I don't really do much that is detrimental to my health. But yeah, the key to never giving up is to make a decision not to. Once you have something that you really, really want, you don't give up and you don't stop until you get it. How do you pick games to platinum? I look at how popular they are. I look at how much time they would take to record. And that's kind of the main things that I look at right now. How do you have the mental power to platinum the hardest games in the world? So it kind of ties in with what I just said. A lot of things in life boil down to decisions. So it's not how do I have, like, everyone has the mental power to platinum the hardest game in the world. They say the hardest game in the world to platinum is the game Crypt of the Necrodancer. It takes 1,000 hours to platinum. And that's because it's a highly skill-based game that is very hard to accomplish. And the longer I sit out here, man, the colder I get, I'm actually starting to shiver. And I know I can do that game if I wanted to, but 1,000 hours into a video would not be a constructive use of my time. That's why I will never do it. And it'll also cause some serious mental damage. And I know that because I've done the Splasher Platinum, which only took me, 200 hours? And it was the hardest thing I've ever done, and it really deteriorated my mental health at the time. So I don't even want, and Crypt of the Necrodancer is significantly harder than that. And I don't even want to imagine what that would be like. But because I had the mindset of never giving up on anything, I would do it if I really set my mind to it. The point is, mental power is a decision. So if you want to be resilient mentally, you just make a decision to do it. It's that simple. Do you feel rushed when making content? No, because I don't have anyone telling me when to upload. Like, I work on my own schedule. I'm my own boss. So I decide whenever I post and how much I should be posting. But I do want to get more videos out. If you weren't doing YouTube, what would your passion be? My hands are literally shaking reading these questions. That's a great question that I don't really know the answer to. I can say this though. I've been told I can't speak. That always happens to me. You always hear me go in every video on the main channel and this channel because I try to speak fast. But I've been told I give really good advice, which I don't know. I might, like, when I get older, I might go into like some speaking, motivational speaking or something. I feel like that's something I would like to get into. But as of right now, I don't know. How important is an upload schedule? You can hear it. I'm really cold out here. I need to run. It's not like a specific schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing, like where you upload on specific days. That's not important at all. What's important is consistency and just making sure you're uploading on a consistent basis. You don't need to have a schedule where you're like, oh, I upload every first Monday of the month or every Wednesday, or no, you don't need that. What wakes you up in the morning? I wake up naturally, no alarm clock or nothing, but I think you meant like in terms of like a motivation perspective. Whenever I wake up naturally, I just kind of just start working. Like, I don't have time to waste, you know. I'll open up my phone, look at the YouTube comments, see how many subs I gained overnight, respond to the comments, and then after that, I'll get up and start my day. I'm gonna try to go through these questions faster because my phone is dying and I'm cold. How do you make scripts? I don't make scripts for videos. How long should I spend on each clip? As long as it needs to be, no longer or no shorter. So as long as you need to convey that kind of point for that specific clip, that's how long you should spend on it. Is YouTube a good career? And if so, what should we do to start a good channel or a good successful channel? I think YouTube is the most fun career to do in the world, but that's obviously a biased perspective. But if that's something you're passionate about, what should you do to start? Figure out what kind of content you want to make. And if you want your channel to be successful, you need to make engaging and good content that really captivates people. And you need to there's a lot that goes into understanding how to do that. But I would start with making your first 100 videos in a specific niche of your choice and try to make each video better than the last. Your first video is gonna suck, but your 100th video will be better, but it'll probably also suck. How to get started on YouTube? All my subs are family and friends. Kind of just answered that. But if all your subs are family and friends, well, first off, don't tell your family and friends about your channel unless they're genuinely interested in watching your content. So like if I'm gonna be making videos about running, right? If my uncle is an avid runner, then I will tell him about my channel because he's interested in that topic and he can get legitimate value out of it. But if I'm just telling my family and friends about my channel so they can subscribe and my subscriber count can go up, that's not gonna help my channel because they're not my target audience. And if people who are not your target audience are watching your videos, then it's gonna recommend your videos to other people who have similar interests to them. So if I'm making running videos and my uncle is not interested in running at all, but I tell my uncle to go subscribe to my channel, and he does, and he watches a couple of my videos, and he happens to be interested in trains, then my videos are going to be recommended to more people who like trains because he watched it. And then when your video gets recommended to those people who like trains and they have no interest in running, then they're not going to click on your video. So don't tell your friends and family about your channel, at least at the start, unless it's actually going to provide value to their life. What got you into YouTube? When I was in college, I was in my second semester, and I was absolutely dreading school. Me and my friend, we would get on to play Fortnite every day, and we would just talk about our lives. And one of the things we would talk about is YouTube, and we had the idea of becoming YouTubers, and that's kind of where it started. And from there, I eventually dropped out of I was gonna say I dropped out of YouTube. I dropped out of college with no subs to become a YouTuber. And then I had a job for about 8 months or 8 to 9 months. And then I quit that job with no subs to become a YouTuber. And then I started there. How hard is it to gain traction? It's gonna be hard for someone to gain traction if they have no YouTube experience because they just don't know what they're doing. But, and I can say this with mathematical certainty, if I sat down with someone who had no experience with YouTube videos and they said, Nick, I want you to help me start a successful channel on YouTube, I can teach them the exact things that they have to do to gain traction in a very short amount of time, and they will blow up really fast because they know, I mean, they won't know, I'll know what it takes to grow a successful channel, and I'll just be relaying to them what I know. I can guarantee this with mathematical certainty, with the same certainty that if I release this note out of my hand, it's gonna go blowing in the wind. 100% certainty. So if I was starting a new channel from scratch today with all my experience, I would say I can get to 100,000 subscribers, depending on the niche I'm in. And I think less than half a year. It could be even shorter than that. It's not hard once you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, then it's gonna be really hard. Why did you start YouTube, and how do you think of ideas? I started YouTube because I wanted to make a career out of something I was passionate about, which is playing video games. I always used to play video games in my free time, and I wanted to do something that I would typically do in my free time and make a living off of it. So that's why I did start YouTube. And how do I think of ideas? I look at other niches and see what ideas are working for them and see how I can adapt them to my own niche. And I also just think of creative stuff that I can do that people haven't done before. Okay, that's the last question. I've been recording for 50 minutes. My phone's about to die and I have to go for a run, and I'm very cold. So I'm gonna end off this right here. I hope you guys learned something from it.